Ladies and gentlemen, what we have here is a great idea, a very novel idea. A Long Island man, stand-up comedian Manny Arias, known as Tugboat Manny, who's performed at Mohegan Sun and Westbury, to name a few of the clubs, has something to offer veterans returning home. Manny has helped come up with the idea the veterans could be stand-up comedians. That's right, stand-up comedians. It's called Project 9 Line. So let's find out about Project 9 Line from the man himself. Welcome, Manny.
Hey, thank you for having me.
Fun.
Yeah, I really appreciate being here.
We're gonna have fun whether we like it or not, is that it?
That's it. Fun should be my middle name.
Okay, tell us a little bit about you so we can help walk the project through.
Okay, well, I started comedy 4 years ago. On March 19th, 2013, I took 6 comedy classes in a row at Stand Up University Comedy School, and my first time on stage was for a comedy class, March 19, 2013, and I took 6 comedy classes in a row, and I love comedy so much that basically all the hurts and the pains and all the things that I've been through, I talk about on stage, and I make a little twist of the funny. And I also have taken a couple of acting classes at the Gateway Theater here in Bellport. So, and I don't know if anything's helping, but it's a lot of fun, and it helps me because I also advocate for mental health both on and off of stage. And it doesn't just go through for veterans, it also goes for everybody in society.
Who has mental health issues or whatever
Yes,
the case
absolutely.
may be? Okay. So you do a lot more than just the Veterans Project.
Yes.
But the Veterans Project interests me as a veteran. I always wanted to know if there was something that we could do for those people returning home, because I understand you have to say things as they are. But there's a high suicide rate for people coming back.
Oh,
And there's
absolutely.
also a homeless issue and a bunch of other issues that they have coming back.
You know, one of the things that I did that I'll never forget, I performed at the Northport VA Hospital, and I performed in the psychiatric ward. And I remember I told them, I said, by the way, my portion of the show is brought to you by Prozac. And everybody in there was like, they started laughing. And the comedians that were performing with me were like, uh-oh, he can't do this, you know? And I was like, is anybody in here crazy like me? And they started clapping and going, it was fun. But I'll never forget it, because when I got off stage, one of the veterans handed me a drawing that he made of me. And it says, "To Manny, lots of love, brother. Thank you for helping me get through another day of PTSD."
Cool.
And I talked to this man after. He cried and broke down to me because he lost 244 of his troops, and he feels like it's his fault. And I get the chills right now thinking about it, because there is no trophy, no amount of money, no amount of fame that will ever come close to that. Because this is what I do what I do because I love laughing, and I love making people laugh. And it helps.
It's a tremendous responsibility, not only to have them lose that, come out with an effect like post-traumatic stress.
Absolutely.
And then to speak well or easily with somebody else is not always it's a gift to get through certain things. So I appreciate what you're doing. I think there's going to be a lot of help to be had with your Project Line. Is it Project 9 Line?
Project 9 Line, which was started by Patrick Donahue, who came back from, overseas, serving overseas in Afghanistan, for the 101st Airborne, and he actually started Project 9 Line, and it helps people reintegrate back into society. There are I'm teaching a comedy class, and there are veterans who came home that are struggling, and there's also veterans that range from say 20 years old all the way to 70 years old. So I've been through different wars and everything. And it also helps with public speaking as well.
Yeah, so you're going to perform a terrific, meaningful part of what their future would be like, by being a part of this and trying to stretch what they can do to help them get back into the world.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
That's the expression we use when you're overseas. You know, coming back to the world, like the America is the world, everything else is not.
Right.
I don't know how it started, but that's how it started. You know, last month, I'm sorry, we did a show called, well, I forgot the title, but it's Arrested for Telling Lawyer Jokes. 2 guys were arrested for telling lawyer jokes.
Right. Yeah.
And truth be told, they're online having a good time, and they were actually arrested for it. Now, when you think about it, you're trying to make something out of the miserable world that everyone who's going to court is going to face in just a moment. Telling lawyers jokes is probably the best thing they could have done.
Absolutely. I absolutely agree.
Right?
I absolutely agree. Because you know what? You take our darkness of life. Comedy is truth and pain with a little twist, you know, and you know, everything can be talked about. Everything can be talked about. Some things are a little off topic, you know that, we know that, but come on.
Yeah.
I mean, where everybody's so
Let's
easily
relax a little
offended.
bit, as you say. Right, everybody's offended is no doubt a problem.
And quick
yeah.
to jump, you know,
Yeah.
that point the finger and be like, but meanwhile, like my first tugboat captain told me, you point one finger, you better be careful because you got 3 more pointing back at you.
Right.
And I'll never
Right.
forget that.
Truth be told, that's what it is. So if you get the chance at some point, we're going to expect that you create a few lawyer jokes to add to your repertoire when you're ready.
That's what I was right away, before when we were talking earlier.
Yeah.
I was like, what are you going after my mental disability? What are you doing? You know, like, come on, you know.
Oh, well, we'll make sure that you add something. We'll help you out a little bit if we need
Thank
it.
you very much.
You know, when you see a veteran and this project, is it going to allow them to see talent, or are you going to select talent, or is everybody has an opportunity?
Everybody has an opportunity. No matter, it doesn't matter how much money you have, or how many, or how little money you have, or how much mental illness you have, or how little, or if you don't have any, or if you just want to do public speaking and just get up and talk.
Oh,
in
so you
front
do
of
that
people.
too. It's not just about the comedy. You can
Yeah,
also help.
It's not,
acting, maybe.
You know what it is? It's bigger than comedy. I can't even describe it. To sit there and watch these guys get up. I'm on my 6th week now in the program teaching the class, and from the people from the first class of them coming up and hummada, now they're actually getting a 5-minute act.
That's not easy to hum it, is it?
Yeah. No, I mean, I do it, you know.
But so you don't have to worry about selecting the talent. You more or less have to
No.
let them feel what it's like
Yeah.
to do that kind of thing. You know, people get a bug about that kind of thing, and something that they didn't think they could do, like public speak or like comedy. You panic.
Right.
You're on stage. It's you that you have to deliver the message for, right? And it's easy to mess that up.
Right.
And people don't have any patience for that, by the way. You know, I mean, if you're in a comedy club, I mean, have a little respect.
Right, exactly.
You know, I always get
Well, that's
upset
why
about
I
that.
put myself in. I learned to put myself in uncomfortable situations in order to be comfortable. Like I'll go to bars in the middle of the night.
That is a good idea.
Yeah, thank you.
You have lots of good ideas, you know that?
Yeah, if I use them all though. But the truth of the matter is, if you're at a funeral, people would rather be in a casket than actually talking in
Public
front of the
speaking,
people.
I know.
That's the truth, you know?
There's such a thing as like the common term is called shtick. You know,
Yeah.
do you have a shtick?
Well,
I mean, well,
yeah.
you and others. I'm talking about the whole group of you guys.
Well, you know, I always like, for some reason I am hesitant to answer it. My shtick is me. I've been this person my whole life. Listen, I'm a little goofy. I'm a little happy, jolly. I poke fun at myself like I've been doing
so
all
you
myself.
basically already have a shtick, but
Yeah,
Yeah.
like my character is this, you know, like Tugboat Manny, ex-deckhand on a tugboat.
what else could you do if you're a comedian to look for, like for instance, a guy who's just coming back from overseas and he wants to develop a little bit of a shtick? You gotta reach back into your own soul to find out who the heck you are to come up with
Absolutely.
shtick.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely. And, you know, I think a lot of, you know, I'm not afraid to say that I have issues, mental health issues, right? But the truth of the matter is I started taking antidepressants when I was 28 years old. I probably had this my whole entire life, you know? So all of this comedy stuff is coming from early in my life to our modern day, to right now. So you're getting me from in early childhood to right now. And I've always wanted to make light of the situation. And by the way, I want to say thank you for serving our country.
Oh, and thank you for serving our country.
I'm a former naval reservist, and one of the things that I
We'll take a handshake on that, yeah.
thank you, sir. And you know, I was actually, here's a little short story. I went to a comedy club, and there was this really famous comedian performing, and he said that he performs overseas for our troops, right? Which one day I really would love to do that, you know, and but anyway, he said, matter of fact, are there any veterans here? So I raised my hand, and he goes, when did you serve? You know, and I said, during the Gulf War. And he said, where? And I said, Tampa, Florida.
Yeah.
You know, so that's one of the little jokes that I do. It's
Yeah.
a little longer, but
Yeah.
the truth of the matter is I've been home. So I have my mental health issues from my life here. I've never been overseas or ever been in any wars or seen what.
So that reminds me, so then the veterans that come back, and regardless of the place that they were in,
Right.
you're not locking somebody in or locking somebody out. You're saying everybody who can come, who has, you know,
Absolutely. Anybody and everybody
because
can
across
come.
across the board, there are people who didn't necessarily face combat who have mental issues,
Right.
and that's what you're referring to too, regarding when you brought that example up yourself.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And there are people out there that will bash some of the military people and be like, oh, well, you didn't serve the country. You know what the truth of the matter is? I signed the dotted line just like you signed the dotted line to protect and serve this great country.
Right.
And any one of us can be called, as we know.
There's also something called the alert. Once you're in a war period, there's a wartime veteran issue.
Right.
You're ready. You're on the ready
Exactly.
to go anytime that they decide you're ready to go.
And the truth of the matter is,
So
I
you had to
served
be
during
trained.
the
See,
Gulf
there
War.
you go. Right. Exactly. How do you train these guys? I mean, I'm confused about where this is coming from. What would you do to? I would imagine this is going to be a tough road to hoe to get somebody who's, you know, not really
Yeah.
ready for it. How do you get them
Well,
to go?
you know what it is? I took what I've learned from Stand Up University Comedy School,
Spread it out.
and I spread it out. Plus, I've also took what I've learned myself, and also from others. I watch other comedians. I study myself, and what I do is like with the class.
I would think that would be fun.
Oh, it's
I mean,
so much fun.
to look at somebody in the process of fumbling over themselves to find a shtick, for instance,
Absolutely.
or to find a way to get. And what do they say? I mean,
Well,
what do
well,
they do? Make up jokes? I can't figure out how you're doing this.
You know what? It's actually funny is funny. You can't teach funny.
Right.
But you can teach the formula of funny. And the formula that I learned that I teach is set up, punch. So it's like math, and I enjoy math. And I've always done good in math. I wasn't like this math major, but I see a lot of sign language going on behind the set. But anyway, there's a formula, set up, punch. So what we do is the first class, they get on stage, hey, how you doing? What's your name? Where you're from? Where did you serve? What branch of military are you in? And I tell them to always record their set, no matter what, from the day one, because even when we're talking, like right now, something can happen funny.
Sure.
And you have to, and you write that down. But I asked them, I say, listen,
There are some people who are like numb to that, though.
yeah, oh,
Unfortunately,
totally.
unfortunately, yeah.
But that's just the way it is.
Yeah.
And I asked them, you know, what I've learned. What are your dislikes? What do you hate? What do you like? So we take that and we get them on stage, and they're up there for about 5, 10, 15, 20 minutes, and we say, you know, what do you like? What do you hate? And someone will just say, like, I hate the sky. You know, I mean, come on, how could you hate the sky?
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
But we just extend from there.
Yeah, well, it's good that you're doing this. I'm really excited about what you have out in front. And this Project 9 Line, just as a reminder, is that a website or anything that they can
Yeah,
go
it's
to?
project9line.org.
Okay, .org. Okay.
Yeah,
And,
ORG.
and there's also, we have more questions for you, so don't run away. But you also want to get April 28th in Center Reach at the VFW. Center
Yeah.
Reach, Long Island, the VFW. There's a veteran show. It's April 28th. Remember the day of the week by any chance? Anybody?
It's a Friday. I believe it's a Friday.
Good.
And I'm actually going to be headlining that show.
Oh, great. Okay.
Yeah, so it's going to be, and I just want to clarify this. I may sit here and say I'm the teacher. The truth is, I'm the learner. because I'm learning, as I'm learning right now, because I'm very grateful to be on your show, to have an opportunity to.
And so are we, so thank you. Yeah,
Thank
that's
you.
Great. I always wanted to know how you, I guess you can say, how you handle an act that doesn't seem, this is for comedians too, I suppose. How do you handle an act that's struggling in your own act, and how do you handle an audience that's not responsive, they're not getting
Right.
it, they're not in the mood? And by the way, aren't these things considerations for you? I
Oh,
mean,
absolutely.
You know, you never know what you're going to get, right?
Absolutely, because when you go up there, the toughest spot is to be the first person. You got the host, then you got the first person that comes up to fill the spot. The headliner has a buffer zone where there's a few comics that lighten up the crowd and all that stuff.
Warm up.
Yeah, warm up person.
Yeah.
But like I said, what I do is I put myself in uncomfortable situations or to be comfortable. So what you'll see me do is I'll do my same act at maybe at a comedy venue, but I'll go to comedy open mics locally around Long Island, and I'll also go to music open jams, which I absolutely swear by. And some of the comedians that
I don't know what that is.
Music open jams are basically you go to a bar and it's a bunch of musicians and bands that play there.
Music jam,
So
I see, yeah.
sometimes I'll have a 5-minute spot right in between a band breaking down and setting up, and they'll give me, and the bands, there's noise, there's everything, there's distractions. So there's the bar crowd, there's the bands breaking down.
It sounds like punishment. They try to perform an act with all that noise and confusion around you.
But the truth of the matter is, that's where I get my comedy. I don't have muscle now, but that's where my comedy
It's
muscle
coming
comes
though, I
from.
can see it.
Yeah.
Well, laughter is definitely the best medicine because it uplifts you. Does anybody, have you gotten any feedback, I guess, from the people that you've begun to work with? Have they give you feedback of how the process is going, and whether they're able to develop a shtick, or are they afraid of where they are, or?
Well, sometimes when you go through things, I feel like recently I feel like I'm taking a step backwards. But the truth of the matter is, the more you keep going, you're going forward.
That's right.
So there's times when I'm on stage where I'll go completely blank.
I call it overlapping retreat and overlapping advance.
I like that.
When you're retreating and you're overlapping in one another, but if you're always going forward, you're in the overlapping advance. Because
Right.
you're going to have some failure in whatever process you're in, some kind of semi-retreat, but it's marginalized, it has time orientation in
Right.
it, and you can just go back and forth and go forward.
And you're talking to somebody who's failed radiology school twice. I failed tests. I failed at many things in life. And you know what? You fail and fail. And I shared this the other day. But you have to be enthusiastic. And then
Right.
you just keep going.
So I think that's probably, except for a guy who's got a very slow tempo, for a comedian, it's probably one of the more important things to have enthusiasm.
Right. And passion.
And conviction, you have
Yeah.
to be sure about what you're saying.
And the other thing, too, is what I've learned. Peter Bales is the professor of Stand-Up University. He taught me since day one, the more vulnerable you are, the better you be.
I can't figure that one out.
You can't, because we're in a life where if you tell somebody something, they're going to tell everybody else and all this other stuff. I'm on stage and I'm telling people that I take Prozac because I have mental health issues. I tell people that I'm on long-term disability because of mental health issues. I talk about what is wrong with me.
And to make that comedy,
And people laugh when I go, I'm on long-term disability because of my mental issues.
I noticed you have some faces going on here.
Yeah.
You're not able to do too many of them right now,
Yeah.
but the little bit of film that I saw 2 or 3 of them. I saw a delivery system, let's call it.
Right.
That's part of shtick, I guess, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I was interviewed, well, not interviewed, but after one of my shows, this reporter from Newsday came up to me and said, Manny, you have a really good delivery, and that's why I'm going to set you up with a really good route.
A route?
Paper route.
Oh. Let's try to cut that piece out.
Okay.
Pretty stupid. Add his and subtract
Yeah,
mine.
yeah.
We'll be all right with that one. So in the final minute or two we have here left in the program,
Jay Leno.
we're going to try to remind everybody, of course, about the Friday, April 28th, Center Reach, Long Island VFW event, and that's for that same Project 9 line, right?
Right.
Okay, that's for the veterans to teach them
Correct.
comedy. And what else have you got coming up? Anything else going
Well,
on?
I have a bunch of stuff on my Tugboat Manny Facebook page and
Okay, send them the
Instagram.
page, right.
And so I have more things coming up and more events. But just recently, I got a phone call from Jay Leno, and here I am. I was almost 4 years in comedy, and Jay Leno calls me.
That's a major deal, isn't it?
I could bottle up with tears right now.
Yeah, that's great.
Do you know how cool he was to me?
Oh yeah, he was cool anyway, wasn't he? I mean, he was a good,
Yep,
good man. He did his stuff. He did it well.
45 minutes he spent with me backstage at Westbury.
Wow.
I'll never forget his advice.
Which was?
His advice is just, keep going. He asked me if I do clean or dirty, and I keep it clean. And he said, no matter what, keep doing your same jokes. Write new jokes, but always practice your jokes, the same jokes. Obviously, don't listen to the negativity. Go out there, and he said, be in the mix. Be in the mix. And he said, keep getting out there.
Right.
Put yourself out there.
Right.
Nobody's going to do this for me.
You're not going to go forward until you've failed backwards, like that overlapping thing I was talking about
Yeah.
before. You're going to have and learn from the failures, right? And you'll just go forward. You just keep going forward. And that's for
Absolutely.
everybody that you're training as well. So, veterans, I hope you're seeing that this is something that will be helpful to you if you need it. And I thank you very much, Tugboat Manny.
Thank you so much. It's
Stay
an
put,
honor
I got to
be
sign
here.
off. Thank you. It's an
Yeah.
honor to have you. You've been watching Gray Matters, a program that shines the light on society that we live in. We keep you in touch with current events, political hot button issues, and we stay right on top of it. We'll invite you to our show anytime that you wish to turn in. We'll see you again next week.
Guys, I'm broke. So in order to make money, I have garage sales. I got in trouble last week when I had this really big garage sale when my neighbors came home early. When I was 15, I sold a box of 20 condoms. As of last week, there's 19 left. And one I used as a water balloon. Yeah, my mother goes, Manuel, how's this big comedy career of yours working out for you, huh? And I say, great, Ma, 3 years in comedy and doors are already starting to open up for me. She said, which ones, Manuel? The refrigerator? Yeah, I performed earlier tonight, and I told them I'm coming all the way to Centeridge to perform for the Project 9 line. And I told them, I said, if anybody wants to donate any gas money for me to get there, that would be great. And this one guy in the audience says, if I give it to you, will you leave now?